Köpeği çaldı lan.
Bakıyorum. Arayın.
Çekmez. Çekmez.
The wild is completely unpredictable, often bringing danger right to your doorstep when you feel the most secure. Imagine a relaxing camping encounter where you unknowingly sleep inches above a deadly snake, or looking down to find a massive bear silently stalking your tree stand. If you suddenly realized you were the prey, how would you survive? What was meant to be a long, drawn-out hunt nearly ended in the worst way possible when the hunter suddenly became the prey. The terrifying encounter begins with the man filming a bear sniffing around beneath his small tree stand. Moments later, the predator locks eyes on him and wastes no time climbing up with a menacing glare. Luckily, it turns back down, giving the hunter just enough time to grab his shotgun and bear spray.
Hey bear. Hey bear. Down bear. Get down.
Bracing for the worst, he aims both weapons as the animal makes another chilling move. Thankfully, the hungry bear takes the hint and retreats, ending the close call. Around 4 years ago, a short trail cam clip appeared on Reddit's oddly terrifying community, and it's not something easily forgotten once seen. At first, it looks like a typical wildlife recording, but within seconds, something deeply disturbing begins to show. A deer slowly steps into frame. For a brief moment, everything seems completely normal. Then the camera captures it. The flesh along its upper spine is entirely missing, exposing bone and raw tissue. As the animal keeps moving through the darkness, it behaves as if nothing is wrong. There's no panic, no sign that it's even aware of what is happening to its own body. And that's what makes this so unsettling, because whatever is affecting that animal, it doesn't seem to recognize it yet. What do you think it is? Something was watching them from the dark, matching their every step down the mountain. The scariest part? They were completely helpless to shoot back. On September 13, 2018, a deeply unsettling piece of hunting footage was uploaded to YouTube by a channel called Outdoors Alley. In this video, 2 individuals head out for an evening elk hunt deep in the mountains. At first, everything about the trip feels routine, but on their way back down, something in the darkness begins watching them.
Go. 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 Getting closer. I only saw one set of eyes and it didn't look real big or anything. I don't know, I hope there's not like cubs in a tree or something.
I could take a few steps, you could take a few steps until we get far enough away.
I don't think it's gonna do anything.
I don't think so either. Alright. Oh, I see him, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see him. Well, they're just watching us now. Let's just get.
Most wildlife runs the moment it detects a human scent. This does not. Instead, it remains just beyond the reach of their light, completely still, observing. Then more eyes begin to appear.
Alright, well, let's just cruise. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at her. I mean, they're staying in the same spot. Are they?
Are you sure it's a bear? Not like a cat or something?
I don't know.
I could bang off a shot to get it to go away.
As they continue moving downhill, whatever is out there starts moving as well, keeping pace with them. Nick keeps his hand on his gun, ready to fire a warning shot, but then he hesitates because in those dry conditions, a single shot could start a wildfire. Eventually, they make it back to the trailer, but the tension does not fade. The encounter leaves them shaken, unable to fully explain what they saw. And honestly, that is what makes this so unsettling. Because out there in the dark, it is not always what you can see that matters, but what you cannot. Sometimes things stay just out of view and still feel close, so what do you think was really out there? Deep in the forest, a single moment of lost balance was enough for everything to move beyond control. On February 22, 2024, the footage was shared by the YouTube channel Kirk Price. The hunt unfolded in the familiar style of bear hunting, with hounds moving through mountainous woodland terrain. The weather was cold, the fog heavy, and the ground steep and thick with brush. The group released the dogs to follow the scent, moving while monitoring GPS signals and guiding the bear away from areas that could put the dogs at risk. During the tracking process, they repeatedly had to leave their vehicle and hike across mountain slopes and slippery sections of forest.
Look what I just found. We got a rig back there, right before we were going to get him down. I got a track right here.
That's a good pad.
Oh, that's a nice bear. That's a big bear.
You like it?
As the sound of the dogs grew louder, signaling the bear was being pushed to move, the group quickly adjusted direction to close in. While moving fast to keep up with the dogs, the off-road vehicle suddenly lost balance and rolled onto its side.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Relax, relax, relax. Hey, I flipped my side by side. Y'all go on. I'm gonna be a minute.
You need help?
No, don't worry about me. Go ahead.
All right.
Never been better.
The chaotic moment happened quickly, but fortunately, no one was seriously injured. After confirming both the people and the dogs were safe, the hunt was briefly paused and then continued, as the tracks were still fresh. Sometime later, the dogs forced the bear out of the dense forest. The bear suddenly appeared at very close range, leaving no space to retreat. This was not a planned long-distance shot, but a forced reaction to protect both the people and the dogs. The shot was fired quickly and accurately, ending the threat immediately.
No
Yes!
way.
Big bear. Me. I asked Cole about
3 seconds.
3 seconds before if he wanted to kill it.
When the sound faded, the forest returned to silence. The hunt ended not with celebration, but with the understanding that in this environment, even a small mistake can lead to serious consequences. Would you have reacted the same way in that situation? On November 30th, 2020, a disturbing fishing video was uploaded to YouTube by a channel called Minnesota Fishing Brothers. In this video, one of them heads out early in the morning for a trout session along a quiet creek. But before he even casts a line, something in the brush catches his attention and stops him completely.
Check out this freaking doe that I just ran across. It's literally bedded down here. This thing is destroyed. Its tongue's hanging out. Like this thing is wrecked. Unless he got hit by a car or something. Hope it doesn't like. Look at this thing. It is beat up.
Just off the bank, a deer is slowly moving through the trees. At first glance, it appears normal, but as he gets closer, it becomes clear something is seriously wrong. Its tongue is hanging out, its eyes look unfocused, and despite him standing only a few feet away, the animal barely reacts at all. There is no urgency, no awareness, just slow and unnatural movement. He describes it in a certain way, and honestly, watching it, it is hard to argue. Sometimes situations like this can look quiet on the outside while something is already going wrong underneath. So what do you think was really happening to that animal? On November 9th, 2016, While hiking in Uludağ, a group of people suddenly heard faint, broken cries echoing through the forest. Following the sound, they came across a bear cub caught in a wire snare, its leg tightly bound to the point it could not escape. It struggled constantly, thrashing against a tree, and each movement only pulled the wire tighter.
Yakında çekebiliyor musun? Süper.
Çekiyorum. Arayın.
Seninki çekmiyoruz. Çekmez.
Vay be, ayı da görmek kısmet oldu şu dağda.
Acaba biz onu kurtarmaya çalışsak anlar mı?
Ay yok hemen saldırır.
Anneannemin öyle bir hikayesi vardı ama yarısı masalsa.
Yok ve en büyük tehlike ne biliyor musun?
Hayvan ayağından bir telle bağlı şu anda kurtulmaya çalışıyor ve çok bağırıyor. Acı çekiyor hala.
Sol ayağından.
Ağaca bağlı herhalde o ağacı kırmaya çalışıyor.
Ağacı devirerek.
Without hesitation, they called for help. Veterinarians arrived, sedated the cub to reduce its pain and keep it calm, and then carefully removed the snare that had been cutting into its leg. Moments like this remind us why protecting young bears matters and why they should not be hunted. What do you think might have happened if no one had found it? In the calm setting of the Ngala Reserve, the moment the lion suddenly moves forward, every sense of safety becomes fragile.
When they're full, their stomachs stand like this. Hey. It's okay.
The space that once felt controlled quickly shifts, and the distance no longer feels secure. Lions can react quickly when they feel curious or focused on movement, and even a small change can trigger a response. So what do you think could have happened next? Imagine dealing with massive, fearless bears wandering right into your workspace. How would you safely handle an apex predator that's actually too smart to fall for your traps? In certain regions near oil fields, wild bears have been appearing more often and slowly losing their fear of humans, forcing people to look for ways to manage the situation without using hunting. One method involves an automatic trap cage, designed so the animal can enter on its own and be safely contained, reducing the risk of dangerous direct contact. But in this case, the bear showed no urgency. At first, it remained outside, reaching a paw into the cage as if testing its surroundings. Every movement was slow and careful, suggesting it had not lowered its guard. After watching for a while, the animal moved closer, but eventually slipped away quickly, disappearing back into the forest before anyone could act. Fortunately, it did not become aggressive or cause any harm. Bears can be cautious and highly aware of unfamiliar objects. So what do you think it was sensing in that moment? He camped alone in the Kalahari wilderness, where wildlife was a normal part of daily life. The night before had been calm, with a campfire, sunset, and familiar animals passing near the campsite. The next morning, after waking up, as he unzipped his tent to step out, the scene in front of him changed instantly. Young male lions were moving directly toward the campsite, with no growling and no rush, just the quiet curiosity of top predators. He slowly backed away into his Land Cruiser, allowing the lions to enter the camp. They sniffed around the tent, pulled out chairs, and carried off a few items, behaving as if the space belonged to them. From such a close distance, he could only watch and wait for them to leave. It seemed like everything had settled, but while packing up his tent, another discovery sent a chill down his spine.
But to add to that experience, upon packing up that camp, I rolled up my tent and only to discover I had been sleeping on a very nice big puff adder. Obviously, the temperatures were very cold. It was just zero and just below zero on a few nights. It was midwinter in the Kalahari Desert, and Puffadder decided to seek shelter underneath my tent and warm up, and he was very lethargic. Anyway, it was a bit nerve-wracking to know that I'd been sleeping on a Puffadder for the last few days. It was literally under where my mattress was on the ground. So,
For several nights, he had been sleeping directly above a large puffadder snake. Because of the cold weather, it had moved under the tent to stay warm, right beneath where he slept. After packing up, it became clear how close it had been the entire time, hidden under the ground sheet without being noticed. What do you think could have happened if things had gone slightly differently? The next encounter in Turkey left people struggling in a very different way. As soon as the report came in, authorities arrived at the scene, setting up barriers, deploying nets, and using catch poles. Every possible method was put into action, but the problem was that this pig was simply too fast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It cleared barriers as if they didn't exist, slipped into nets only to throw handlers off balance, and even injured one person during the chase. Each time it seemed cornered, it would suddenly push forward and escape within seconds, making every effort feel ineffective. After nearly 4 hours of trying, they were forced to stop, not because they had caught it, but because they simply couldn't. Animals like this can react quickly when stressed or trapped, using speed and unpredictability to escape. So what do you think could have been done differently? Handling large wild boars damaging farms and crops is not simple, especially as they appear more often and become increasingly aggressive. In one recorded situation, shared by the YouTube channel Camp AV Balak on January 6, 2025, once it realized it had been noticed, a boar suddenly charged out at high speed, ready to respond at any moment. Dogs were released to help manage it, but the situation quickly turned tense when one was injured during the approach.
Köpeği çaldı lan.
Buraya aşırı mı ya?
Köpeği çaldı.
Those nearby had to keep their distance and coordinate carefully, knowing that even a small mistake could push everything out of control.
Bir kısmını çektim de düşürken çekemedim çünkü arkamdaydı. Önüme geçti.
Böyle yaptım ya.
Kızım domuz bu tarafa geliyordu. Sen domuzu görmedin, ben gördüm.
It was a confrontation that showed wild boars are not just destructive, they can become a serious threat when cornered face to face. Animals like this can react fast when they feel trapped, using sudden movement to defend themselves. So what do you think could have happened if it got any closer? What seemed like a normal workday at a construction site in rural Bolu, Turkey quickly turned into something unexpected when workers found a brown bear trapped underground. At first, only a paw was visible, clawing up through the mud. But as they dug deeper, the bear's head appeared, roaring and thrashing as it tried to escape the confined space. The sound of the excavator made it more agitated, as it kept reaching out with its claws and reacting aggressively. Realizing the risk, the workers stopped construction and shifted their focus to helping, carefully using the excavator to widen the hole. After several tense minutes, the bear managed to dig with its own claws and finally pulled itself free, then quickly disappeared back into the forest. There was no moment of recognition, just an animal that had escaped death, leaving as if it had never trusted the humans behind it. A trained circus bear suddenly turns in the middle of a performance, and within seconds, something feels off. In the city of Olonets in the Republic of Karelia, Russia, a traveling circus performance suddenly turned into a moment of chaos right in front of the audience. At first, the bear pushed a cart and followed commands as expected, but just seconds later, when the trainer stepped closer, it suddenly lunged forward, knocking him down and attacking him on stage. What made it even more alarming was that there were no barriers separating the audience from the performance area. Yet in those first moments, many people still believed it was part of the act. It wasn't until the bear lost control and began moving around the stage that screams broke out. Staff quickly stepped in to separate the animal, but despite being muzzled, the trainer was still injured. Wild animals can react unpredictably even when trained, especially in stressful situations. So what do you think could have triggered that moment? Following a set of fresh tracks, a man came across a lone wolf by the river and chose to begin a pursuit. The video, capturing the entire sequence, quickly gained attention after being posted, but it also triggered mixed reactions from viewers. Many believed the wolf already appeared exhausted and showed no signs of aggression, while the man continued the chase, leading some to describe the act as harsh and question the true intention behind the hunt. What do you think was really happening in that moment? In May 2021, a wolf den was found inside an expanded red fox burrow. 6 wolf pups, only around 10 to 12 days old, were lying deep within a chamber roughly 1.5 meters below the surface. Believing they were well hidden, researchers placed a camera trap on a large pine tree about 10 meters from the entrance. For the first few days, everything remained quiet. Then a brown bear came across the den. At first, it began digging slowly, then more aggressively. Just outside the frame, the parent wolves were already nearby. They understood what was happening and could hear it, but they did not move closer. On one side stood an adult brown bear, strong enough to tear the entire den apart, and on the other were just 2 wolves. The imbalance was clear. The destruction lasted nearly half an hour, long enough for everything inside to be completely destroyed. When the bear finally left, the silence returned, but it was no longer the same. In the nights that followed, the wolves came back to the site, digging and searching through what remained of the den, looking for their young. It is likely the pups were killed and may have been eaten by the bear. Nature is rarely kind, and this heartbreaking scene is a stark reminder of its unforgiving laws. A disturbing video is quickly circulating and gaining widespread attention across social media. In a snowy setting, a wolf lies still as a group of hunters approaches. The signs suggest the animal has been injured and everything seems to be over. One man steps closer and nudges the animal to check it, and in that exact moment, the situation suddenly shifts.
Bugün bu necesi 4'ü mü? 4. fevral günü 2018 yılında kaskar attık. Satayım hakkını video. Hey!
Everything pauses, leaving behind an unclear outcome. The video rapidly spreads, sparking strong debate. Many believe it is not only the sudden reaction that feels unsettling, but also the way the situation was handled, raising serious questions. What do you think really happened in that moment? The camera alarm suddenly went off in the middle of the night, catching the couple's attention inside the house. A black bear had wandered in, knocking over the feeders and licking up nearly all the peanuts and rum-flavored feed. It then continued moving around the back area, as if still searching for more. Everything played out on the screen while they could only watch from inside, unable to do anything. They decided to wait before putting the feeders back up, not because they were damaged, but because whatever had just come through could return at any moment. Animals like this can remember food sources and come back again, so what would you do in that situation? At a market in the state of Bihar, India, a stray buffalo suddenly charged into a crowded shopping area, throwing everything into chaos. Fortunately, no one was injured, but when it left, all that remained was a shop in ruins, exactly along the path it had taken. Animals can react suddenly under pressure, so what do you think caused it? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.